What's up, fellas? What's going on today, guys? It's good to see everybody. Thanks for popping in. Got my little tool bag down here. Yeah, it's a pretty big box. It's a pretty big plane, man. I don't know how it's gonna work. See you, Shadow. So, guys, we have the all-new... What is this thing? This is the Arrows RC Husky Special Edition up in here. It is a tool bag. Is it not focusing? It looks like it's focused. Is the focus bad? Let me know, Richard. So this is fresh from the FedEx guy, delivering on Sunday like a boss. They got it here before noon, and I was like, man, I ain't got nowhere to fly today because it's raining out. I'm gonna build this thing, and what better way to get the build on the channel than to do a live stream? So we're cracking the box open fresh from FedEx, and we're gonna take a look at the all new Husky Special Edition. Like this is the unboxing of all unboxings right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love the colors on this thing. It's already done up fresh in Spectrum orange and black, so I don't even have to like repaint it to make it look spectrum-y. Look at this big old box. Alright, for those of you guys that are not familiar with these Husky SE from Arrows RC, this is an 1800 millimeter bush plane. It is designed after an actual airframe called the Husky. If you look up the Husky, and I can't remember what the company is that makes it, but I know it's on here. Yes, it's Aviat or Aviat Aircraft Husky A1C. This is an actual airplane. This isn't like a fake, airplane that's named after something else. It's not a Cub, although it does take a lot of design cues from the PA-18. So the Husky SE Special Edition, this one has an upgraded motor, upgraded ESC, some better servos. I believe they're digital Metal Gear servos all around. It's got a reinforced rudder, so the rudder's not going to fly off. Reinforced hinge on the rudder. But that's enough talking about the airplane. Everybody wants to see it. So let's get this box open. Come on. Yes. We don't need all that crap. We're making dogs mad today. Like I said, this is as fresh as an unboxing gets. We're just throwing stuff around, having fun, building some RC airplanes, assembling. I know it's foam, it's not really a build. Blah, blah, blah. Man, that's a big old wing. That's a big old wing. Oh, I like that. The struts are already like built into the wing on hinges, so you don't have to like screw them on or anything. That's a very nice feature. And the little support bracket just kind of pops in right here. It's got some little pop-in joints. That's nice. This is going to be easy. I say that now, watch it be like 4 hours later, we're finally getting done with the build. We got us an instruction manual, and we got a little instruction pamphlet, because this one comes with the vector gyro built in, which is really nice. So the vector gyro, if you guys were not aware, is basically the FMS Reflex Gyro that has been redone in a nice fancy blue box for our friends at Arrows RC. All right. And that is another upgrade that the Husky Special Edition has over the standard Husky. Alright, we're chucking more box. If we don't need that. Uh-oh, I'm breaking all kinds of stuff. Whoever gave it a thumbs down, they just don't like entertainment. That's what it is. Bunch of punks. Alright, we got us a little baggie of parts right there. We got us a rudder assembly. I gotta get this spar out first. Gotta get our wing spar out. It's a nice spar. You can beat people with that real good. Now we can get our... Man, I'll tell you what, guys. All of the Arrows planes that I've had so far, so I've got the Husky and I've got the MiG-29, or the MiG-29, I've got the Bigfoot, and this Husky, you know, just like the Bigfoot, just like the MiG-29, the paint on these pieces is fantastic. They did a really good job with the finish on these things. So that is our vertical stab. We've got our horizontal stab right here, and again, the paint is fantastic. You know, the hinges are a little stiff, so we always like to exercise those hinges when we first get it out of the box and make sure that they're going to be nice and loose so the servos aren't having to work in mega overdrive. We got us a big old prop right here. What do we got? Get out of there. We'll get the spinner out. Come on, man. Alright, so we got our spinner. The big, fancy Husky fuselage, and again, the paint and decal applications, and I mean, everything just looks really nice on this airplane. We'll get that out. The prop is in there good. All right, we got our wheel assemblies. Now, as you guys probably know, those that are familiar with the Husky and have watched other videos on it, this thing has some really like rock hard tires on it. But that's okay, because we have some Dubro inflatable tires that we're going to put on in its place. They are right about the right size. If anything, they're a little bit smaller than the tires that come on it. So these may be 5-inch tires. These are 4.5-inch. But they should fit right on there. And these are going to do fantastic for bush plane landings. I got to get this prop out of the box. All right, and here we have the propeller. The propeller doesn't have any markings on it to tell us what size it is, but I'm sure it's probably on the specs somewhere. Oh, Dave's RC, I probably didn't get your phone call. Because I'm building a plane, dog. Had to go get my stand. So we got something to put this big boy on. So we'll just start from the bottom. Oh, nice, they got a little exhaust here. Nice little scale detail. And I can see already they've got the insert for the rear portion where you've got to insert like a plastic spot, like a plastic socket where floats would go. I've already got the float, so we're definitely going to be doing some float flying with the Husky. And up front we've also got another spot where we will tie down the landing gear. So we're going to go ahead and install the landing gear because, heck, why not? That seems like a logical, good first step, right? And let's dig in the little bag of goodies here and see what we got. Yeah, I got you, Dave. I'll give you a call when I'm done building this big old beast. All right, and in the goodie bag we got a Y connector that already has like little clips that hold it in. So I know I've showed you guys before like little servo clips that hold the servos in. The Husky Y connector already has those little clips, which keeps things nice. It makes it where you don't have to have like tape that you're taping the servo connectors up with, and it keeps things nice and slim for when you're trying to get all your wiring dressed up. All right, I'm getting all of my screws kind of sorted out here. Make sure we got everything that we need. And those. We got this little guy here. I know that goes down into this little slot to hold the landing gear in place. But I'm not sure what size screw I need. So I'm going to cheat and look in the instructions. The hell is this thing talking about? Oh, that's for the wings. All right. So it says these are 16 millimeter screws. So there's really only a couple of options that we can use here. Hey, how about that? And the other thing that's really nice about this, and this goes with all of the Arrows planes, everywhere you've got a screw on the other end of that where the threading is, you're not threading into plastic. There is plastic there, but rather than threading into plastic, you are threading into some very nice brass threaded inserts that are embedded into that plastic. So all the screws go in nice and easy, which is a really nice touch on these Arrows airplanes. You gotta dig it. Alright, next it's saying that we're going to put on our wings. Guys, I think this is going to be a super quick build. We shall see. Gotta dig some stuff out of here. Alright, so there's a little pocket right there that's got all your servo leads in there. So I see I've got my flap, I've got my aileron, and I've got a light there. And those should go down into the fuselage, so yep, there's a little channel that goes down into the fuse. Let's see if we can get the battery hatch off. So there's a little slider right here where you can take the battery cover off. That's nice. And then, as you would expect with an airplane of this size, you've got a big cavernous, area there to connect all your electronics. That's also very nice. We've got our vector gyro is already installed in here. Also very nice. That is cool. It comes with an XT9 or XT60 connection for your batteries. This is a 4S and 5S compatible airframe, but I know that old Pilot Ryan flew it on 6S, which we may also be doing. Now in here right now there is a 50 amp ESC, I believe, from the factory. We are not going to be using the 50 amp ESC. We are going to be using a 60 amp ESC, but I don't have that ESC here yet. We're going to be swapping the stock 50 amp ESC out for a Spectrum Smart 60 amp Avian ESC. So hopefully I got enough room here in my little studio area. This is probably well, at least wingspan wise, this is absolutely the biggest airplane I've got. Get in there. Dad's RC Hangar, what's up? David yourself. How's everybody doing? So look, while I'm building this thing, I can't really pay too good of attention to the chat, but I'll take a look down every now and then to see what folks are saying. I'm actually going to cheat a little bit and use a maybe. So the channels, there's little channels here to get the wiring for the wings down into the fuse, which is not hard, to get those wires down in there, but it's kind of tedious, like fishing those wires through, because they're not exactly straight. Let me try to straighten them up and see if it'll be easier to get those down in there. So what's everybody doing on a Sunday? Other than, you know, watching old Dave put a plane together. All right. All right, so I've got all the wires and everything through, at least for the right wing. So that is good. That's a big old bird. All right, so what I'm doing, and I mentioned it for the right wing, in the wings there's a little pocket where all of the servo wires are, and you're going to kind of dig them out of there because those servo wires get routed into the main fuselage cavity through a little channel, and you got to get them out and straighten them out, otherwise they will get jammed up in that channel. Now the channel's plenty big for all of the wires to get through there, but if they are twisted up, you're going to have a difficult time with it. So you want to straighten those wires out, get them as straight as you can, and they will go right into that channel. And again, with the wings, you've got wires for your aileron and your flap servos, as well as a wire for your lights. And on here it looks like we've got a set of landing lights as well as our navigation lights. We'll go ahead and try to pass these wires through that little tunnel that leads down into the fuse. This is a big plane, fellas. Alright, and our left wing wiring is all down in there now. Excellent. And now we've got the wings in place. We're going to flip it back over and go ahead and bolt the wings down and bolt down these struts. Woo! This thing is big. Alright, so I haven't looked in the chat in a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and catch up on the chat some. Don't forget to insert the anchovies. How can you? Alright, so it's saying all of these screws are these 16mm screws, which I mean, sure. So for the wing struts, they've got these center braces. They just pop right in, and the struts just insert into some molded, holes that are already in the fuselage here. So everything is nice and easy. Alright, we've got one of the wing struts fully installed now. Alright, so if anybody's wondering, like for transportation, how easy is it to get the wings off? The wings are held in with 3 screws, 2 on the wing root and 1 on the strut. So it should not be hard, at the field to get the wing off. And get it reinstalled. You're probably looking at like a 10-minute deal at the field to get the wings off. Unless you're me and you just have the worst luck ever. Yeah, there's a lot more plugging. Some assembly required. You know what I'm saying? So EQ, I'll never do it because I'm sure that something bad would happen to him, but Amy had mentioned, she was like, well, you're running out of places to hang all these planes. I'll pick out pretty ones and you can start hanging them in the living room and, in the different bedrooms and stuff in the house. And I'm like, no. We're going to have airplanes hanging in the hallways, airplanes hanging freaking everywhere. I don't want that. Things where she can say it's okay now, but we all know, like, how long am I really going to get away with this? Alright, we got that started. Alright, that one is good. What we doing yet? I'll tell you, some of these planes are a real pain in the butt to get the thread started. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. I think that's how most wives are. They just want the airplanes gone. It doesn't matter if they're in the house, in the garage. What the hell? Oh, these wing screws are frustrating. They're making me mad. So even though there are threaded inserts in the wings, I'm having a hard time, you know, getting the bolt lined up with the threads. Alright, we at least got the right wing done. Yep, so if you can't get the screw to start threading, just push harder and it'll work. Push harder! I'll tell you what, these wing screws are giving me all kinds of grief. It's always when you think it's going to be an easy build, right? And it's not hard. I'm just having a hard time getting the wing screws to line up. Everything else has been easy. You know, getting the front landing gear on was easy. The wing struts were easy. It's just getting these, the wing screws, you know, where they go into the wing root. Getting those to line up has been a little bit of a challenge. So I think I'm going to try taking a pick and sticking it down in there. Well, that didn't work. Come on, dang. Sorry, guys. I think I know what the problem is. So it looks like there's a little bit of super glue from the factory inside the brass insert. I'm gonna get that knocked out of there. Oh yeah, so the landing gear, Michael, is it doesn't articulate like the Cub and the Turbo Timber. You know, it doesn't have like that spring articulation, but I mean it's very sturdy. It's heavy gauge, you know, metal struts. and I think they're going to be fine. You know, the only issue that I think people are going to have with them is if they fly off of like an asphalt runway like we do. You're going to want softer tires, because these tires are very stiff, very hard tires on all of the Aero's planes. So the Husky and the Bigfoot, both of their like bush style planes have very firm tires. Come on, man. I mean, it's just the front bolt on this wing is being a bitch. And I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't get it. It's all out of whack. I ain't got it. Yeah, I should have, man. Bought her dinner, give her a belly rub. I mean, all the stuff, everything that I'm doing would suggest that everything is lined up. And when I put the damn bolt into the threading by itself, it works fine. Yes! Success! Damn. That sucked. What an asshole. Alright, so I'm finally going to get the wing threading done. It only took half an hour. Damn. That's embarrassing. Now that we've got that in there and we can pretend like it didn't take forever, the wings and wing struts only take 3 bolts to get on each wing, so 2 on the root and 1 on the strut on the bottom of the fuselage. So they're not difficult to put on, as far as skill level goes, but the alignment of the wing bolts provided some challenges. All right. Uh-oh. Okay, so we got a couple more things to do here. Whoosh. What a big airplane. I love it. Alright, so next up is our horizontal stab and our rudder. Alright, so the horizontal stab goes in here. Sets down just like that. And the vertical goes just like this. And what you got to make sure of when you're installing the vertical stab is that the tail wheel, there's a little tiller assembly and there's a slot in the bottom of the rudder. So you got to make sure that the tail wheel tiller goes into that slot. It goes into. Yes, now it's starting to look more like an aeroplane. And it's making me happy. Of course, this one just starts threading right away, right? No problem. They probably did, they always send me the hard ones. Man, this is a big airplane. I'm having to, like, you know, maneuver it around just right so nothing gets smashed, nothing hits anything. What a big bird. I love it. Alright, we've got 2 more screws. They go into the bottom. Yes, and they have also just lined right up and started threading immediately, so we're good. It's just those the wing root threading was the only thing that I was having problem with the alignment. Everything else has been perfect. So don't let that wing root threads, you know, scare you off. You'll get them eventually. Everything else has been spot on. Alright, and I know there's a little screw. There's a little screw that goes in the bottom of the rudder to keep the tail wheel from flying all over the place, so just need to find the size on that guy. Because it doesn't tell you anywhere on here to put that in, at least not that I'm seeing. Horizontal stabilizer. Attach both tail fins to the fuse. Yep, it doesn't tell you anywhere to put in that little retention screw, but I know that it's got to go there, so Alright, so even though it's not in the manual, there's a little screw, and it comes with the screws, right? There's little screws that go into the right-hand side of the rudder and screw in basically on the other side of the control horn for the rudder, and it goes through there and locks the tail wheel assembly in place. So even though it's not in the directions to put that in there, you're going to want to put that screw in. And that keeps the tail wheel nice and sturdy and keeps it from flopping around. All right. So that's pretty much it. We just have our control rods. But before we install the control rods, we're going to go ahead and get the electronics fired up. Uh-oh. So that'll be kind of the first order of business here, is getting all the electronics hooked up. And you guys may not be able to, I mean, you can kind of see my head popping up through here, right? We'll tilt the plane over a little bit to make it easier for you guys to see me. And okay, so it already looks like some of the stuff is already hooked up here, which is nice. So on our Reflex Gyro, so I mean, I know you guys can't see this right now, but on the Reflex Gyro, we've got 4 inputs. We've got our throttle, actually 5. So we've got our throttle, our aileron, our elevator, our rudder, and either an S-bus, PPM, or mode switch. So if you're not using S-bus or PPM, you can use that as a mode switch. Well, it will allow you to change the flight mode that the gyro's in, whether it's in self-leveling, or, you know, the gyro's enabled, or you can actually turn the gyro completely off through that mode switch. So if you're going to get one of these planes, this one's only 5 channels, so you could pull it off with a 6 channel. However, if you are using if you're getting one of these airplanes and it's a 6 channel airplane, so you've got flaps, gear, aileron, elevator, rudder, throttle, if you're using a 6 channel receiver, you're not going to be able to turn your mode on and off, right? You need at least a 7 channel receiver to be able to control the mode function of this, you know, they're calling it a vector gyro, but the same would hold true for the Reflex Gyro on an FMS model. Alright, so I just got to find these 2 spots here. Huh. Alright, so I'm just finding the outputs on this vector gyro. I just got the outputs for the ailerons. We're going to go ahead and plug the ailerons into the gyro. Donezo. And you guys can't see it because of the way the camera's facing and all that, but the gyro has the same type of servo connectors on it, where those clips are already built in. They've got like servo clips or you know, connector clips already built into the connector. So when I connect them, I don't have to worry about them coming apart. I don't have to put tape on them. I don't need any of those little adapters, none of that. That clipped just holds that servo connection perfectly and makes our job, you know, getting it put together much easier. All right, for the flaps don't go through the gyro, so they do include a Y connector. I'm going to go ahead and get that hooked up here. All right, so that's one flap connection. Two flap connections. Done. If the Valiant is built by FMS, I'm not sure. A lot of the E-flite planes are built by FMS. If the Valiant is built by FMS, it probably has a hole, you know, there where if it's got like a little slot that the tailwheel tiller slides up into, there's probably a little hole on the side of that slot for a small screw to go in that holds that tailwheel tiller in place so it doesn't flop up and down. It'll still move side to side, but it'll have like up and down movement. You put that screw in there and it retains that tailwheel tiller where the tailwheel doesn't move all over the place. All right. So I've got my flap connection good to go. Let's see. It looks like a lot of the other stuff is already connected. The only thing I've got left is a couple of LED wires that come through the wings, and there's a set of connections that are plugged into an output on the gyro that says flight mode. Now, I've never seen a flight mode output on a gyro before. I can't imagine that goes to any of the control surfaces, so what I'm going to do, and I don't see any kind of LED controller. On my other Aeros planes, I've been able to plug the LEDs. They come with 5-volt LEDs, so I've been able to plug them in directly to the receiver, and they've been fine. So what I think is going on here, the reason they put this little Y adapter with a couple of servo leads on there, is so I can plug these LEDs straight into the gyro, because the power bus is the same on all of them. And if that's not why they did it, I may be replacing some LEDs. But I think that's what's happening here. So this is a little bit of a challenge because these leads are kind of short. Alright, so I got in one of them. Same thing here. So we'll know the answer pretty quick if, when we plug it in, the LEDs on the wings are really bright and then they stop working. We'll know that we made a big mistake. Alright, so at this point we can go ahead and get our receiver plugged in. My receiver choice is, I'm going to be going with a Spectrum. This is an AR8020T. This is an 8-channel non-gyro version of the receiver. So if you're familiar with like the Spectrum AR6610T, this is basically the same as the 6610T. It's got the built-in It's got full range telemetry. It's got the built-in barometer, altimeter, all that stuff. And it's got 2 long diversity antennas that I can place anywhere. So the reason that I went with 8 channels, even though I need it, when I'm using non-gyro enabled receivers, this thing is only $10 more than the 6 channel. So, you know, if I go ahead and put the 8 channel in here now, I'm going to be using 6 of those channels to control all the functions of the airplane as well as the flight mode change. And the other 2 outputs are going to be freed up. So if I decide to go with an FPV setup, which I think will be really cool on a plane like this, especially when I put the floats on it. I don't see a lot of people flying FPV off the water, probably because water splashes on the camera lens. So I got to figure that part out. But I may do an FPV setup on this plane, and if I do, it'll be nice to have those extra 2 outputs so I can use them for pan and tilt on the FPV camera. So we will go ahead and get this 8020T installed. And for those that are curious, the 8020T receiver from Spectrum, it does have the exact same footprint as the 8360T. So we're good. See you, Dad's RC Hangar. Have a good one. Mike Keller, hello. All right, so we've got 5 outputs. So this, I'm not sure why the Reflex and in this case the Vector gyros have a throttle in and out, but we're just going to go with it. It's there, so we're going to hook it up. And the ESC is hooked up to it on the other side. So, like I said, not sure why they do it that way, but, you know, whatevs. Isn't there a thing on here somewhere that says... you know, the ground goes this way and everything else goes that way? Oh, there it is. I can't see it. That looks like ground on the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. Ground on the bottom. Throttle. Let's see. Ailerons. Elevator. Rudder. We don't have any landing gear, so for channel 5, I'm going to use that for my mode switch on this Vector gyro. I'm going to put the flaps into channel 6. Channel 6 flaps. Boom, 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 boom. All right, good to go. All right, now I'm going to go grab a 4S battery. We are ready to start testing some stuff. So, you know, I apologize for this thing taking a while to get ready. But them wing screws were a bastard. Alright. Now for the battery, this is just for testing, so I'm just using a 4S. This is a 4S 1500 that I normally use for my drones. But we're going to wait. The IX12 was turned off, so we're going to go ahead and get the IX12 fired up. That'll take a couple minutes, so in the meantime... Oh, the wing is very long. This is an 1800 millimeter wingspan. So I think it's right at like 70 inches or something like that. Somebody do the Googling. You know, what is 1800 millimeters to inches? What does that come out to? I don't have like that built-in millimeters to... There you go, 68 inches. Keith Christie. Motherfucking hero. What else do I want to do on this thing? I know there was something else. Oh, let's go ahead and get these antennas installed. It does have some scale little antennas that you put in. They go in just like ordnance on a warbird or a jet. You know, they just go in and slide back, so you can take them off for transporting. That is really nice and makes it where like 100% of the assembly of this airplane is glue free. Well, they're on now. Okay, so we've got basically the whole assembly done. The only thing I haven't done yet is put the spinner and the propeller on. And, you know, for the sake of safety, we don't do that right now. So, I guess I left my IX12 on, so the battery was DED, but that's okay because it is charging up right now, and we'll just leave the charger plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new model in the IX12, turn on my flat mode, and then get this thing ready to bind up because, I mean, you've been here this long, right? You may as well see me bind it up and make sure that everything is working right. Know what I'm saying? New model. Default. Aeroplane. Create. And for those of you guys that have been waiting for me to get the NX10, it looks like they are already shipping in the UK. I believe they are already in the United States. They are just not available in all of the warehouses to start distributing them out to the pre-orders yet. So hopefully those folks that have pre-ordered an NX10, it will be shipping out next week. If you're not on the pre-order list and you still want one, I believe they're going to have plenty available on this first run. You can head over to rcairmarshal.com, click the Horizon logo, find your NX10, get it on pre-order. It should be sending out next week. Whoa! Alright, so we're going to call this Husky SE Special Edition. We're going to monitor 8 channels. We're going to go back. We're going to go into model setup, airplane type. Proceed. Wing type. 1 aileron, 1 flap. That's all I'm doing. Model adjust. Throttle cut. Switch this one. Position 130. And then flap system. Inhibit. On. We're going to figure out the flaps. Alright. So we should be good to go on the radio. So far the lights are staying on. Alright, so I'm pulling my receiver out. We're going to put it into bind mode. Alright, the receiver is in bind mode. I'm putting the transmitter into bind mode. Oh my god, it was successful.
Binding. Bind complete. DSMX 22 milliseconds. Telemetry.
Oh my god. What's up, Ray? Chris Payne? Boy, this thing has some responsive servos. That's awesome. So those are quick servos. That makes me very happy. I believe the way these are set up, because the gyro is already ready to go, we can just reverse. Yeah, I mean, can you guys see that? How quick those ailerons are moving, man. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the ailerons are moving the right way. Let's go ahead and get the flaps done up the way I want them. All right, so flaps up. Let's see, flaps. -100, okay. +100, okay. We'll change that speed. To 2 seconds. There we go. That's how I like it. And that's awesome. So, you know how a lot of times you'll get these models, right? And even though everything is adjusted at the factory, you know, on the wings and whatever, you still have to go in there and you have to do like some minor adjustments yourself because everything's not just the way you want it. So, I don't know if this plane was just built on a Monday, so the person that was putting all the wings together and aligning all the servos was every bit as picky as I am and wanted them like perfectly straight. But everything is perfect right out of the box as far as mechanical alignment goes and center, like servo centering and all that stuff. So now the last part of getting the model together is putting the control links on the elevator and the rudder. So we'll go ahead, pop the battery hatch back on and get that done here. Woo, man. Oh, look at that. The safe is working. It is pissed that it's upside down. So that's that gyro working. That reflex gyro is doing what it's supposed to do. That's awesome. So I've got the control rods right here for the aileron, or for the elevator and the rudder. I'm going to check with the manual, see what holes I'm supposed to use. So it's ball links on the control horns for the control surfaces. On the servo horn, the servo arms are already installed. And from what I'm seeing in the neutral position, those are already straight up and down, which is beautiful. So we just need to get the servo horns connected in the right spot. Alright, so it looks like we're going to go on the second one from the outermost hole. So not all the way to the outermost hole, but the second to outer hole. And that is in accordance with the manual. My ball link pliers. Beautimous. So our elevator is now got the control rod hooked up, and then we'll get that done on our rudder now. And again, the rudder is on the not the outermost hole, but the one just inside of that, and we're having to, you know, shorten that up a little bit to get it to match and get everything mechanically centered up. All right, so that looks great. Got our ball link pliers that we will snap that down with. All right. And so if y'all can't see those LEDs, you know, we've got LEDs on the wings. There's no flashing LEDs, right? So they're all constant, but we definitely have a nice bright green LED on the right wing tip, a bright red LED on the left wing tip, and two bright landing lights on each wing on the outer section of the wing. So right now it looks like our safe mode or our self-leveling mode is turned on. Uh-oh. I gotta answer the door. Okay. So the last thing that we'll be doing here is we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. Actually, let's...
Timer stop.
We're going to get our throttle calibrated, which is always an excellent idea. So the first thing we'll do is we'll run our throttle trim down to -100. Plug in our battery with the throttle turned all the way up.
Start. Timer stop.
think I messed that up.
Timer start. Timer stop.
I think I still broke it. Alright, so the last thing I want to do is go into channel setup, channel assign, and for the gear channel, we're going to set up the gear channel on switch B. And that should allow us to turn that safe mode on and off, that self-leveling. And it is, so right now it is in kind of its gyro mode. And everything is moving in the right direction, which is fantastic. The next thing that we'll do is put it in the center. Yep, the center position is off, and then up should be our self-leveling mode. And that is all working. All right, so that's everything. Yep, we've got everything going now. We are happy with the way that the wings are moving. I'm happy with how everything looks and how everything is set up. We'll go ahead and get the propeller installed. And get the spinner installed. And that's that. And then we can, you know, shoot the breeze for a little bit. Uh-oh. Well, maybe we won't be putting the spinner on just yet. I don't think it came with enough screws to put the spinner on. It came with an extra, like a really long screw. And that's what a lot of the FMS use, is the really long screw. But I think it needs one of the shorter ones for the spinner. And I don't think it came with enough. Which that'll be a little odd. That's another 3mm by 16mm. And it may have come with all of them that I needed and I knocked one off the table maybe, I don't know. But I'm gonna go grab one out of my secret stash. Alright. So for anybody that flies airplanes, I've got a set that I got off of Amazon. It is socket head screws, socket head machine screws of a variety of lengths and widths. This is got M2, M3, and M4 socket head screws in it. So even though I don't have what I need, I do have what I need. So I've got M3 by 16 screws in here. I'll just make sure that they will thread in to the prop adapter. And it does, no problem. Fred Barron, I don't have a flat mix programmed in there just yet, but it may need one. So let me look in the book. Let me see what it calls out in the book, because I like to go with that as an initial, you know, kind of, hey, what does the book say type of thing. So now we got the spinner installed. And everything is moving in the right direction. We got the throttle cut on right now, right? So I know I'm messing with the propeller. Don't worry, I've got my safety stuff in place. So let me look at the flat mix for Fred and see if there's anything called out in the manual. Now a lot of this stuff, you know, like in this gyro, yep, sometimes the gyros already have that mix and stuff built in, but it doesn't look like this does. So I'm just going to review the manual real quick for Fred. And see if it calls out for anything, like any kind of mix in the elevator. Yeah, I think he was saying it was a 15% down elevator, like 15. I don't remember if he put any, like if he had different sets for both. It doesn't call out anything in the manual, right? So I think that's something that we're just going to have to figure out at the field, Fred. If Ryan put 15% in his and it worked out well, then I would assume that that's what's going to work out well for this one as well. What are you asking about, Jerry? Sorry, I'm missing stuff. But now that I'm like done with the airplane, are you wanting to see the floats put on? Oh, you want to see the Dubro tires? We are going to do those. So now that I've got everything else put on, we're going to go ahead and install the fancy inflatable Dubro tires on this bad dog. Because I don't like these big hard FMS tires. These Dubro tires are actually sold right at Hobbyzone, right? So, oh God, if you if you go to the hubcaps are a bitch to get off. That's motherfucker, shit. Oh. Man, I'm like bashing stuff. All right. The hubcaps are a bitch to get off. You think? Boom. Booyah. What was about the hubcaps being a bitch to get off? Alright, now, fair warning, the stock wheels have C-clips on them. And we all know what happens. We all know what happens with these stupid C-clips, man. These things are about to go flying everywhere. Come on, bastards. Oh my God. Alright, so that came off. That was fairly painless. Ah, shut the front door. This is like the perfect size. Oh no. It's not the perfect size. That's alright. I got a lot of washers. That look like they're the right size. Oh, and they are. They're perfect. Yep, so I'm just building some spacers with the washers so we can slide those Dubro tires on here. So, I've got a scale somewhere. What I can tell you right off the bat is this inflatable rubber tire from Dubro is much heavier than this hard-ass foam tire, but it's so much softer, and I believe that this plane can carry the weight no problem. So we're putting the Dubro tires on there. Alright, it looks like I put one too many washers on. And it's funny, on the stock wheels there's already a stack of washers on there. So I just added 2 more washers. That spaces it out enough where I'm not getting any kind of rubbing or anything on there. And now we'll go ahead and throw that C-clip back on. More fun. The installation and removal of C-clips is my favorite thing on the planet in the world of RC. Now there's a little bit of a wobble on there, but it's not bad. You know, it probably moves about, it probably has maybe an 1/8 inch of play. You know, but the washers that I have are too thick to do it any differently. I guess I could try one thing. Three of those and one of the stock washers. That's much better. Alright, so the washers I have are a little bit thicker than the stock washers, so I installed 3 of my washers and removed one of the stock washers. So that made it perfect on this side where I don't have any, you know, lateral play side to side, and I got good motion on the wheel. All right, so the right side, the left side tire has now been replaced with the Dubro. All right, now let's flip it around and get the other tire done. Oh my God, this is a big plane. Okay. Alright, so I got the C-clip out. And take these stock washers off. Put on 3 of my washers. And put 2 of the stock washers back. Here's my other big fancy Dubro tire. Dubro. Hey, bro. And then put the C-clip back. Oh, don't drop the C-clip. Yes. Alright, so now we have the crappy stock tires removed. And we put on the big Dubros. Oh my god, it's too big. This plane is giant. It is giant. And it's from China. Yes. Alright. So now we got this big beast of a plane put together. We've got the Dubro squishy tires on it. Squishy. Alright, let me move some junk so I can sit this big beast down. Yeah, Roy, I'm gonna have to pull the wings off this baby to get it in the car, man. There ain't no way it's going in the car with the wings on. Yeah, don't forget the foam tack. That's probably a good idea, Jerry. I should probably put something on them C-clips. Because I can definitely see them falling out, for sure. So, does anybody have any questions? Now that I think I pretty much got it done. I'm not gonna put them on because the first flights that I want to do off of the ground, so I can get the trim and everything happy while it's still on the ground. But I do have the float set for the plane. So once I get the maiden done off of the asphalt, we're going to be putting the floats onto the Husky and turning this into a water plane. And that also makes me happy, but we're not going to put the floats on until we're ready to take this baby float flying. So anyway, does Does anybody have any questions about the build? It doesn't come with tree repellent. I'm pretty sure that the tree magnets are in full force on this thing. So TNS Scoot, I am not gonna, even though Ryan ran it on 6S, I don't think I'm gonna try it. So I'm gonna go ahead and fly it the way it sits. I've got one of the 60 amp Avian ESCs on order, and I did put a Spectrum AR8020. It's a non-AS3X 8-channel receiver in the plane, and that's what's controlling everything right now. Once I get the Avian ESC, we'll pull the stock ESC out, put that Avian ESC in, and that will give us all of our smart telemetry, our smart batteries, and it will also give us thrust reversing. And the thrust reversing is going to be awesome when this plane is on floats. Pilot Jerry, it does not come with the floats, but it does come with the floats are only like $50, $60, something like that. So Dennis, this plane comes with a little bit lower kV motor than the stock version. So the OG Husky, the black and red, or the black and red Husky, it had a 750 kV motor, where this one I believe is a 700 kV. So on 4S, it's not going to have quite as much speed because it was designed to run on 5S. Ryan ran this thing on 6S and it was a freaking beast. I'm actually going to put, it comes out of the box with a 50 amp ESC. I'm going to throw a 60 amp ESC and see how she does. Spectrum doesn't make any 5S batteries, so I may run it on 6S. It's certainly got the size, it's right there in that middle area of planes that run good on 4S but could do better on 6. Where like the Carbon Cub, which is only a few inches, bigger wingspan than this thing. The Carbon Cub or Carbon Z Cub is like a 2.1 meter, where this is 1.8. So, it's got some length on it by a little bit. And the Carbon Cub S, it says it's the Cessna 150. The Cessna 150 says it'll run on 4S, but really, it doesn't really run on 4S. So Tug Hill, the battery area is fantastic. So it's got, a little latch, just like most FMS planes. So this is built by FMS. It's got that little latch, you just lift that off. And then the battery area, that's your battery area there. You can stick your whole arm up in there if you wanted to. So it's got plenty of room to fit whatever size battery you can imagine. If you want to run 6S, if you want to run 4S, 5S, it doesn't matter. This thing you can put any size battery you want in there, and you're not going to run into any room or any problem with space. No. Just to kind of demonstrate that, I've got a Spectrum. This is a 6S 5000 pack that I've got in my hand, and that thing, it'll drop right in there, no problem. And if we move the Velcro and stuff out of the way, although I don't know that I'd need to do it with a 6S 5000. Kind of opening the Velcro so the battery can actually sit down in there. I can get this battery in there and slide it all the way forward So that's a 6S 5000 pack. And let's see if I can. So, yeah, a 6S 5000, I mean, it'll fit, right? You probably have to do a little bit of modifications. Not that you really need to run a battery this big, but just to kind of prove a point, you know, like it fits in there no problem. Now, is it CG'd with the big 6S 5000? I don't know, let's check. Let's see if I can get this big beast turned around. So what's the fatty part of the wing is about right there. I mean, look, it ain't bad. It's a little bit nose heavy with the 6S 5000, which is perfect because you don't want it sitting all the way forward anyway. So with the 6S 5000, you'd have to shift the battery backwards, probably about an inch. But, I mean, look at that. It's CG and with a big old 5000 pack in there. That's awesome. 5000 6S. So yeah, you got plenty of room in the battery compartment to do whatever you want. That is not a concern. Oh, what, Reckham? You put a 4S 2200 in this beast? Like a 4S 2200? How did it fly for like 1 minute? Yeah, I mean, this thing is so big. I wouldn't even bother putting a 2200 in it, man. I would want, you know, I'd want all of that. I would just throw a huge battery in there. I mean, you could fit probably a 6 or 7,000 4S battery in there if you had one. So it'll definitely fit like a 4,000, 5,000 4S, no problem. We just saw it will fit like a 6S 5,000. Now, what's the benefit of going with a battery that big? Really long flight times. You know, you don't need to run this thing, you know, crazy. But the thing I like about having that extra weight when I'm running it on floats is the more weight that I have, the more I can use that throttle, you know, to kind of modulate using the throttle to adjust I mean, my descent rate, you know, without having to like engage a bunch of flaps or worry about, you know, the airplane ballooning or anything like that. I can keep that weight in there to keep the plane nice and level and then give it a little bit of a flare as it's right about to touch the water. You know, I actually want it to carry a little bit more weight on a float plane. Float planes that are too light, they tend to nose over real easy. You know, so I like the idea of running it on 6S, even if I use, you know, I may put like some throttle limiting into the transmitter to keep it from running, you know, at 100% when I'm running the 6S battery, but I like that extra weight. Exactly, Jerry. I'm gonna want that. I'm gonna want that weight on there for float flying. But other than that, I mean, this thing, it's everything that I wanted it to be. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with it. You know, I wanted a big, high wing tail dragger with floats. And this fits the bill of all of those things. You know, it's a big tail dragger You know, one of the things that I don't like about the Cub is the elliptical wings. And this has the candy bar style wings, so they're not, you know, they're not like elliptical, they're flat on the sides. They've got that little bit of flare, and it's a downward, you know, winglet style thing. That little wing flare at the end, which I'm sure offers a ton of stability. I love the scale appearance. I love that it has like the Aviat aircraft Husky A1C. They even did like a special edition thing. I love the colors, the black and orange and white. Looks great. I mean, I'm really happy with it. So for those of you that yeah, look, I think with a plane like this, especially for the application that I'm going to be using it for float flying, I think you're going to do better with the weight, even if you sacrifice a little bit of flight time to get there. But I think that this plane is going to be able to carry that weight so well that it's not going to matter. Yep. And I've got a float plane, and I like it a lot, but I wanted something bigger. You know, in the floats that work with the Husky, I've got them here. It's already got all the brackets and everything installed. Getting the main gear off is only 3 bolts, and getting the brackets out to put the floats on is only 6 bolts. So swapping the main gear out for the floats is going to be really simple. And then I've got a line here that I would run up into the fuselage, and there's already a hole cut out for that, I believe. We'd run that up into the fuselage and plug it into our rudder, and we've already got a water rudder right here on the floats, which is where it's supposed to be. It's not like those ridiculous, you know, Tundras that have the float like a freaking wizard's wand with a water rudder on it that you got to attach to the tail wheel that sticks down like 18 inches into the water. That thing is so stupid. This is how a water rudder is supposed to be. Right there. On the float. So anyway, I love this plane, man. I think it's awesome. So to go 5S, Wild Bill, at a minimum, what you would need is the upgraded motor. So this comes with, I think, it's a 700 kV motor. I can't remember what the size of the can is. But if you go to Hobbyzone and you look at the Husky Special Edition, you're going to want a minimum of the upgraded motor, and you may not need to order like the prop shaft, you know, the prop adapter that bolts onto the motor. That may already be on it, but you're going to want the motor, and you're going to want at least a 50 amp ESC. Doesn't necessarily need to be the one that they sell with the arrows. Myself, I'm going to go with the Avian 60 amp ESC. I'm going to take this out. So in fact, if you want the 50 amp ESC that comes in this Husky, when I replace it with the 60 amp Avian, I'll mail it to you. That way all you need is the motor. Yeah, the tail has also been beefed up quite a bit. So they have reinforced the rudder, and I believe maybe even the ailerons, with some fabric material, some fabric hinge material in the hinges of the rudder and the aileron to keep those control surfaces from flying off. All of the servos have been upgraded from 17 gram to 23 gram digital Metal Gear servos. and they're very fast, very, very quick, nimble servos. For those of you that are joining a little late, we can turn that on and let you guys see, kind of the servo action and how that looks, because it's kind of impressive. And I'm not sure what else they did on the special edition. I know they did servos, the ESC, the motor, the prop is still the same, and the tail wheel is still the same. All right. Yep, there we got the, everything right now is in high rates. I haven't set up the rates and all that yet, but yeah, I mean, this thing has some, really quick servos all around. Everything just works really well. The, maybe the LEDs did burn out. I don't know. I don't see them on the right side anymore. So I may have blown up the LEDs because it doesn't say how to hook them up. Or maybe I just disconnected them. Yep, it looks like they just got disconnected. Sorry, these LED connections are kind of a pain in the butt to get plugged in. And there it is. Yep, so I didn't blow up the LEDs in the wing. They just came unplugged because I don't have any of the wiring kind of strapped down in there, and when I was putting that big old 6S battery in there, it must have knocked the LED wire out. But yeah, now we've got both the green, running light, the landing lights, and your red running light and left landing lights as well. And the gyro works really well in there, that vector gyro, just kind of playing around with it and moving things. I mean, it's already doing its thing, and everything is moving in the right direction. We've got the big inflatable tires on there. Man, awesome. Yes, so the lights still work. I didn't blow them up. And they just plug right into the receiver. So I've got them plugged into some extra outputs on the back of the gyro, which is weird. There's like a flight mode set of outputs that were already on a Y connector, so I think they put that there for the lights on purpose. Yep. So everything is looking good. We got big crazy inflatable tires. We got everything good. So be sure to come by the show tomorrow, and we'll be talking about it a little more. I doubt that I'll be able to fly it between today and tomorrow, but if I do, awesome. And I think that everything else is good to go. So like I was saying earlier, if there's no questions, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll go ahead and give this thing about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to cut it off. But yeah, Fred, so far I love just the looks of it. I think it's a great looking airplane. I love the coloring. I love the size, the weight of it. It's not like a light plane. And I think that a plane like this, you want to carry a little more weight, because it's still going to have, even though it's got the size and it's got some weight to it, it's really going to still have really light wing loading just because of the design of the airplane. So I think it's going to fly amazing. But did anybody have any questions about like the build of the plane? I mean, it was pretty straightforward, but if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You know, we've got everything done, with the exception of swapping out the ESC as far as like the upgrades that I'm going to do. I haven't put on the floats. Those are going to be really simple, but we did swap out the stock tires with the Dubros. And that was not, it was not without, you know, some special challenges that I needed to overcome. So if you guys have any questions about that, I'll be happy to answer them. Now, I don't think these are going to work. The new tires did come with, like the new Dubros did come with like some disc style hubcaps, like hub covers, but I don't think they're going to work. God. Shadow, maybe. We'll put the battery cover back on. Sorry. So we got it all put together. I suck, and it took me a while, but the whole plane went together pretty quick. Because Dave, that's what I do. Yeah, I'm sure on 4S it's going to have plenty of power. But on 6S, it's going to go even better. So I think with the way that the wheels attach, I don't know that I can get these in there. I don't know that I can get these, the Dubro hubcaps on these wheels. Which is not the end of the world. They don't look terrible without them. In fact, they look kind of cool. I would rather not have that C-clip just sitting there exposed, so, you know, rocks and debris and whatever can get up on there. And yeah, and skid marks, dude. I can't not, you know, create skid marks for you guys. That's right, Kenny. Mr. Tughill, thank you, sir. So that's about all I got, guys. You know, we're going to be back. We're going to have this on the table again tomorrow night. So if you have any questions and you didn't get them answered today, be sure to have them available for tomorrow night. We're still going to be going live for the Air Marshal Monday show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to tune in. That's all I got for now. So far, I'm pretty impressed with what I see, and I'm sure that this thing is just going to be a big fat baby in the air. It's going to fly awesome. No, Kenny, we're not going to be flying tomorrow. I'm working on some other stuff tomorrow. So, for anybody that's interested in getting a Cub Husky, this isn't a Cub, this is a Husky. For anybody that's interested in getting the Husky, be sure to head over to pilearoundmedia.com, look at the Hobbyzone link, click on the Hobbyzone link. In fact, I think right on the pilearoundmedia.com homepage right now, there is a direct link straight to the Husky Special Edition, which is what you see here. It's awesome. I don't even know what it costs, but I'll tell you, it's worth every penny. I think it's like $300. Right now, I think they're still honoring a $20 off coupon. So if you want to get a little bit of money off, be able to, check that out. Anyway, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and, go upstairs and take a nap. But for now, I've got a fully built airplane, fresh out of the box. FedEx just dropped it off at the beginning of the show, and now it's built, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow night some more. Maybe Amy will come and hang out with us. Who knows? But for now, I will see y'all later. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Dave's RC. Hey, man, it's what I do, dude. It takes all day for me to build plug and play. That's my new pitch line, man. Takes all day for Dave to build plug and play. Anyway, I love this thing. It's awesome. Everybody should have one. Thank you to Dave's RC. Thank you to Mr. Tughill for the super chats. Thank you to all the members. And I'll give you a call here in a little bit, Dave. Y'all all have a great Sunday. We will see you tomorrow night.